Good evening, if you can call it that. My name is Posh Bertie, and I am joined by Gooner Gathering's founding father, the one, the only, Mr. Lee Meadows, Gooner Lee
Hello.
Leeds. How's your day been, sir?
Good evening, everybody. My day has been exceptionally exciting. I'm
Tesco Towers doing
amazing.
all right?
Sorry?
Tesco Towers doing well?
Yeah, Tesco's is lovely. Thank you very much for asking about my place
Other
of
shops
work.
are available?
Absolutely. But yeah, I can't help but feel, do you remember the conversation we had off air yesterday before the fun started yesterday? And I said to you, I felt deflated. I feel that today's discussion will probably involve feeling a little deflated.
I have a feeling. Yeah, I think I knew how you felt when after the Man City game. I mean, I probably after that game, I expected City to beat Everton. I thought it was going to happen. So it was kind of the norm for me. I
Yeah,
know that some were hopeful that a team fighting for relegation was gonna cause they were going to get stone cold Sean Dyche against the champions. Case in point when Everton beat us at Goodison.
yeah,
But this is Man City we're talking about, and they can play every game. They can play a game every day, and they will not get tired. They're absolutely relentless, and so I thought they were going to beat Everton, and they did. So I don't want to have any false hope. So that was my thoughts on that.
well, this is where my role comes in quite, in what I love about our dynamic, Posh, is that you're traditionally the cynic, if you like, amongst us,
Not
right?
always. I
Well,
think I thought I've been quite reasonable overall this season. I've been quite a reasonable,
oh yeah,
level-headed guy. Not all the time, but
yeah,
most of the time, in my opinion.
yeah, and what I mean to say is, I'm always trying to play my role as the guy that do you know what I mean? It might have been a little bit of a pipe dream, and it might have been a little bit of bravado. All right, here you go, behind the scenes kind of talk here, right? I mean, imagine how poetic it would have been. Alex Iwobi going through the midfield. It's up for grabs now. Yesterday, it would have been fun, wouldn't it? I mean, hey, I've been writing a different script. The City are playing Chelsea next. Imagine if Raheem Sterling goes through. That'd be good. I'm only playing along with you. So I know, guys. I know. Unfortunately, as much as we could say it's not over, it's fine. No.
They haven't mathematically won it yet. Not yet, anyway.
Yeah. Okay. No. So listen. When I am saying to my audience that I love very much, and if you are watching Gooner Gathering this evening, please make sure you're hitting the like button and hitting the subscribe button. But I can't sit here this evening, especially on the back of what happened yesterday, and saying, Arsenal are going to pull it out the bag because, it ain't going to happen, is it?
No, and we have ourselves to blame for that. The league did not end. Our title campaign did not over. It was not finished after the Brighton game. Let's be honest, it was over after the West Ham game.
Mm-hmm.
You could say maybe after the City game, but we had to miraculously win there. So when we drew 2-2 at West Ham, that was it. That was when it was. The title was over, and we have ourselves to blame for that, for absolutely capitulating in typical Arsenal fashion. Yeah. You want anything to add on that?
Yeah, I mean, listen, you've got there's several pointers that I can think of. Hello, Spencer. Welcome back to the channel in the chat. Thank you for being here. I would actually kind of think back to that fateful Thursday night from the pub, the second leg, Lisbon. And that moment where Saliba's innocuous kind of injury rocked us, which I think, without double checking, it is 9 games ago. And if you're looking at, and by the way, let's just think about this: the Saliba is a young kid who's this is his first season for Arsenal. He's had a couple of seasons learning his craft and learning about the game, and look at the massive difference that he'd made in our side as a centre half. Left-sided, he's great on the ball as well. That brilliant goal. Do you remember that goal? It sort of fell to his left foot, and up it goes. I think it was against
the Bournemouth game.
Was it Bournemouth? Yeah.
Oh, that was a great game. I remember that.
Yeah,
Lovely.
yeah, exactly.
No pressure. Sun was shining. Oh.
Yeah, exactly. But since then, if you look at it, we've been struggling centre half. Obviously, there's a lack of quality in there in the reserves. I'm going to say, and this isn't a dig at Kivior at all, because I thought he's actually come into the side, and I'm not going to give him any grief at all, really, especially for yesterday. If you want to analyse it a little bit, especially the first goal in particular, he was down injured when the first goal went in. If you think about the couple of games prior, straight toxic over Arsenal, I tell you.
I think that's not just YouTube; it's everywhere else that likes to be like that.
I mean, we've had this sort of discussion kind of off air a little bit. I think what makes us here a little bit different is, I think, and I've got so much love and respect for this man over here. He's just been wonderful for our channel. Yeah, you. But
might not do that.
We have a lot of respect for each other, and we might have differing views about how this is going to go. But I've got so much time for.
But then we remember that we both like wrestling, so it's all good.
Oh, absolutely. That debate is good, especially on a show like this where we had a little bit of time to digest everything, like what's happened. But where it all went wrong. But so I was kind of talking about Kivior has come in and done an okay job. I'm not going to give him a sort of a grade or anything like that, because that wouldn't be fair. And as much as Rob Holding has been at the club a long time, I think, without pointing fingers, it's not just that. It's the Tomiyasu injury. It's the party lack of form. There's other little bits.
So many things that have,
if you look
been
up top
stirred
as well,
up in a cauldron, hasn't it? All these things coming together.
Yeah, and
that's what led
Gabby
to it.
Jesus having the role as that main striker, then coming back after his long-term injury. I think there's been moments where he's really struggled. And it kind of is testament to the fact that we haven't really the out and out goal scorer, which we probably still don't have. In fairness, it's really unfair to call Gabby Jesus an absolute number 9 striker, because he's very much a support striker, really, isn't he? But that was kind of my thoughts. And then defensive errors, like you're talking about, like the West Ham game, like Liverpool. Certainly, I'm haunted by that image of Trent skinning Zinni. Right.
Yeah. I think the haunting moment is this is the West Ham game. Saka's missed penalty. That was our Steven Gerrard slipping over moment, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That's fair. But it's like you said, it's a massive combination of a lot of things. And don't get me wrong. When we started this season up, were our expectations to be amongst it in terms of the major title Premier League honours?
Right.
Honestly.
Now, At the start of the season, I understand that nobody expected us to win the league, and Spencer agrees with me on the comparison there. Thank you. Where was I? Right. At the start of the season, I understand that nobody, not even Arsenal fans, expected us to be at the very top of the league. All right. I understand that at that point. But when you are 8 points clear in April with what, 8 games to go, you are expected to go for the league then. At that time. I understand that at the start of the season, if someone said, "Oh, would you like to finish second?" So a lot of fans would be like, "Oh, wow, after bottling Champions League last season, yeah, yes, please." But when you are, it depends on where it is. When you are 8 points clear in April with 8 or 9 games to go, you're expected to go for it. You're expected to go for the big prize, right?
Oh yeah.
And no matter what team you are, when you're in that situation, to quote to quote a certain Arsenal fan, it's all in your hands. But we didn't. We monumentally collapsed in a comedic fashion, just like the Champions League, where we completely bottled it. We capitulated in an embarrassing fashion, and it's just season after season, things like this happen. But this was even more. I'd argue, this was worse than some of the bottlings we've done in the past, because again, 8 points clear at the top to then go down the pecking order.
Yeah, and it's frustrating, isn't it? I know that because you get so close to picking up the honours, but I suppose listen, because I've seen it and I've been around it, and it's not because I'm accepting it. Let me get that right. But I would suggest that the getting this as far as they have, and that obviously this experience of, you use the word capitulation, I'll use it here. I'm hoping, beyond hope, maybe, that we will build from that. Now, I know this is going to sound a little bit like this sort of period last season, right? Where we had sort of 3 games where all of a sudden, when it was in our hands, and then all of a sudden we go to White Hart Lane, and all that business happened, and Rob got sent
off. The Newcastle
off.
game hurts the most because we could have won that. We were expected to win that, and then,
well, in terms of, yeah, you're right there, but I'm kind of thinking like with the Tottenham game would certainly hurt me more because of the local rivalry and how much of the the chat that we often get, from our friends across the road, like, yeah. But look, maybe it's a case of me thinking, maybe it was always in the back of my mind that should we get stretched in the injuries and front like that, and as like I said, it wasn't just one thing, and maybe it was just that little bit too far to go in the end of the day. But I will look at other. Sorry, the comment popped up and my thought process went up. If you're not screaming Arteta out or acting like a parrot, you're not a real Arsenal fan or just accepting a failure. Is that how Arsenal YouTube, Twitter and stuff is? Because
I'm not saying Arteta out at all.
No, I'm not. This is the thing. I think I probably know where you want to take this. So if in January, if we look back at it, or even look further back if you want, if you're looking back to, say, like the summer window, could there have been more that we could have done there? Now, we did get the early business done with Jesus, which I think we were all pleased with. Let's be, it's one that you were
Even
calling
Zinchenko
for.
I was pleased with at the start. Saliba was almost like a new signing because he didn't play for us hardly anything. And when he, the 3 years he signed for us, he either was a reserve or went out on loan. He kind of felt like a new signing when he started.
Yeah, no, that's right. But as we're talking about it, and the over reliance, shall we say, that's probably where my head is, the over reliance on the likes of the players, especially the like Saka, for example. Martinelli as well is to an extent, who's quite a young player himself. And it looks like he's out for the season now. If you've seen the picture with him as we were closing the broadcast yesterday, he was on the pitch with a medical boot on. Could we have had more cover in private? I don't know. Previous to that, I don't know.
We could have had a lot more squad depth. That would have been better for us. Spencer says, I really do get tired of being compared to Real Madrid. Arsenal do not have a ruthless history like Real Madrid. Look, I hate to say this as an Arsenal fan myself, but this is the sad reality. I'd love to be like Real Madrid. We all would, okay? Comparing Real Madrid now and years ago to Arsenal now, I'm not going to say it's like comparing ice cream to horse manure because that's very harsh. But it's like, comparing it's like it's like comparing a British bulldog, if you will, to a puppy. That's what it's
I thought you were talking about a wrestler there for a second.
No,
I'm disappointed.
Saying, it's comparing apples to oranges. There you go.
Yeah.
I get you can't compare the two, unfortunately. Now, maybe in the Invincibles days, you could comparing the Invincibles and the Galacticos. You could have done that. Now, I'm sorry, but it's not the same.
Yeah, it isn't the same, but
which is sad. I'm not happy to say that, but it's the truth, I'm afraid.
Yeah, okay, I'll take that, and then I'll say to you that I will not say that this is the end for this side. I think this might be the start of something for this side. And what I mean by that is you learn from your experience. I'm hoping to get some more. And do you know when we got like Trossard in, who's that little bit older?
Yeah,
a little bit more Nelson there as well,
Yeah. Can I just say, Reece Nelson was the only player that actually tried against Brighton, and he's leaving. So that says it all.
I was going there. I was going to go there in a minute. Yeah, absolutely. But so you get that player like Trossard, or someone like a Jorginho. If we had a little bit more, so I need to stop looking at the chat for a minute because my thought process is gone. But if we had built on that a little bit more, we might have had more of a chance. I would say let's see. I know a lot of people will be up in arms about everything and the overreacting of decisions and stuff like that Spencer's talking about is very much fresh in people's minds, especially after everything that yesterday. Do you know that's the thing? It's because it's the nature of how it's fallen apart yesterday. I think that's what has triggered everybody's feelings. It was like from minute one when Ødegaard got a ball hit right on his head and he was down. There was a big stoppage. Arsenal couldn't get their rhythm going. There was another big stoppage. We couldn't get our passing together. For whatever reason, it's very much a stop-start kind of game, very much like Newcastle at home, actually. And then through that defensive mistake or a series of defensive mistakes, we conceded on the set play, and then obviously the Ramsdale to Trossard kind of play.
This isn't the first time that's happened either. Fulham, Southampton.
Yeah,
Now
exactly.
this, we've got to stop all of this fancy footwork from the back. I know.
I mean, when it works, it's great. But
Yeah,
I know what you're
but
saying.
there are times, and it's going to happen. All this fancy tiki-taka passing from the back. Yeah, people do that, but it will lead. There will come times, and if you keep doing it, it'll be more often than not when it leads to horrendous errors, as established this season.
Yeah, and it's not just happened with us either, is it? It's happened all around. If you think about United in the Europa League a couple of weeks ago, when De Gea got caught out for it, you know, I don't understand to a point where we came from clearing the ball properly to do what they do now. I suppose it's the modern way.
Yeah.
I guess. I suppose the modern day centre half probably looking like, let's think, like a Rio Ferdinand, possibly one of that sort of generation. Feel a little bit further back, a little bit like Ruud Gullit was when he was player manager at Chelsea, when he was like in a sweeper kind of role. You got someone with extraordinary passing ability. You didn't often see it, and it's like the discussion I had with my brother on Saturday, where he was saying, with the likes of Zinni playing in the left back inverted kind of role, whatever you want to call it, the risk reward kind of situation, what you get from it, from the extra person in the midfield and stuff. You might be able to tell by my tone that I'm not a fan of it at all. But that's just what
Do you think we missed Zinchenko today?
I think on Sunday, I think maybe the lack of Zinni to a point. Do you remember when I said live in commentary, right? That whole left side was a little bit alien. Because we had Kieran Tierney there. Then after Martinelli had left, Trossard was there. Then we didn't have Partey in. It was Jorginho. So and he's only started a handful of games himself. It just felt like they were a little bit alien. And like I said, because it was so stop-start as well, I don't think that helped their rhythm. It didn't help their free-flowing football. I mean, in all honesty, now, surprisingly, ladies and gentlemen, I haven't been back to watch the game because, as you could have probably told from my, especially the last half hour of yesterday's stream, I wasn't very pleased with it. And do you know what I want to say before we move any further? I want to say this on YouTube in front of everybody, that one thing I love about our channel, and it might not necessarily do us any favors in terms of figures or whatever, but for myself and Posh, keeping our integrity and keeping our values of our channel like we do, I am so super proud of that. And I'll salute you for, and like, it's like in this discussion as well, it's we might have differing views to a point, but this form of like a nice discussion kind of thing, where we're not shouting over each other and we're not gonna have heated words, if you like.
You serious?
Oh, would you stop? It's something that I'm super proud of on Gooner Gathering, and this is kind of my value, and this is what I want our channel to be. So thank you, Posh. You did amazing yesterday, and you always are.
So did you as well, for providing the cool heads that we desperately need. So
oh well, you know me, mate. I mean, I must say it was. I quite like it when I do the gallows humour sometimes. This is a bold ploy by Arsenal to go 3 goals behind.
Yes, and when you at the third goal, when you threw your pen down, I thought, oh, you go.
He's actually lost it. Yeah. I'm actually gonna. I want to see that back. I think that
I think you should make that into a TikTok with "Hurt" by Johnny Cash playing in the background.
Oh, I know the song. I know the
Oh
song.
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
lovely song.
I'll take that on board. I'll make a note of that. Make silly TikTok video. Right.
Yeah.
Which you can find. There's also you can find Gooner Gathering on TikTok, and you'll find us.
Yes.
Next question, sir. Next question.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. I don't know what question you're on about, but okay. What I have in my notes here is some I don't want to say it's a pipe bomb, but because it isn't. But I think as the
is it clobbering time?
For some Arsenal fans, yes.
Uh-oh.
When you lose 3-0 to Brighton, you go on Twitter and you see some Arsenal fans saying, "Oh, I'm proud of the boys." You say that after you get bullied 3-0 at home to Brighton. I understand you're referencing some of the moments from early on in the season, but when you lose 3-0 to Brighton, what is there to be proud about? At home as well. When this was meant to be a game where, yes, the title wasn't in our hands, but we could have at least fought for it, at least put up a fight to try and, put Man City hot on the heels, even if it wasn't going to end like us in winning the league. But we didn't. It was a terrible performance, and people are, and this is all of those moments we had this season, those very great moments, the last-minute winner against Man United, the last-minute winners against Aston Villa and Bournemouth, the doubles over Spurs, the doubles over Chelsea, all of these great moments we had this season, unfortunately, it means nothing. Because as the years go by, we might remember this now, but in 10 years' time, not even then, few years' time, 10 years' time, all people are going to remember Arsenal for in the 2022-23 season is when we bottled the Premier League in an embarrassing fashion. I'm sorry to say this, but that's all they're going to remember us for. If I ever have kids and I say to them, "Oh, I'll tell you what, children, Arsenal in 2022-23, what an amazing season it was. So many great moments," which is true. There were great moments this season. But my kids are going to say, "Dad, you blew away an 8-point lead. You could have won the league and you finished second. Now give us some food." That's unfortunately that's all we're going to be remembered for. Because I saw a tweet from I think Wellbeast, who was one of the biggest Arsenal football Twitter people, saying, what would we be remembered for at the end of the day when it comes to this season? And unfortunately, the answer is bottling the league. Bottling an 8-point lead at the top. In 10 years' time, that's all we're going to be remembered for. And that's sad, isn't it? Well, what?
Look, I take that on board, and I silently seethe because
I'm sorry. We had great moments this season, but as the years go by, people they're not going to talk about that because they can talk about Nketiah's last-minute winner against Man United anyway. But what did it lead to?
Yeah. I know what you mean. I know where you're going, and I understand what you mean. And and it's not as if we've come from behind in seasons gone by against Man United. That's similar sort of vein, right? And I don't recall anyone calling Man United bottle jobs. Just bringing it out there from
the internet wasn't as lethal at that point.
Yeah. Happier times, eh?
Football Twitter wasn't around at that point.
Exactly. And you absolutely are right in one thing you do say, sir, and that is that ultimately you don't get silver medals.
You mentioned Man United. I think of United in the 2011-12 season. They were 7 points clear at the top. It was mainly Man City at the top, but there was a time when United were quite high in the league in April and May, and they had there were some bad moments that season for them, but they had some decent moments. What's the season remembered for? The Aguero goal versus QPR.
Yeah, that's my point.
Liverpool in 2014, as I mentioned, they had some memorable moments. Case in point, beating us 5-1. I hate saying that. Arteta scored a penalty there. They had beaten Man City 3-2 when they thought this was it. The league's in their hands. They had some great moments. What's their season remembered for? When Gerrard slipped over and they lost the league 7 points clear in May.
Yeah.
That's all that they're remembered for at the end of the day as the years go by. This is what I sadly mean about Arsenal. That all we're going to remember for is when we bottled an 8-point lead at the top of the table when the title was all in our hands. And I hate saying that to you because you're such a hopeful, positive Arsenal fan. And every time I say something critical, I do die inside a little bit. But,
okay. Look,
we like wrestling. We both like wrestling. That's the main thing. Please don't hate me.
I don't hate you, Posh. I don't hate you at all. I wouldn't have you in that spot over there if I hated you. Now, come on now. But
I'm going to say something soon, which I'm going to upset loads of people for. But we'll get to that in a minute. Go on. You were saying?
Oh God, there's more.
If we get to it.
Okay. But I think the important thing, and this actually starts in the next game. It's all about, how we go next time. It's all about, so who has got a bit of fight to go out there and do a bit of a performance after what happened yesterday. You mentioned one player, I think, had a positive impact on the game yesterday.
And it's the guy that's leaving.
It's the guy that's leaving. I think he's out of contract. And whoever picks up Reece, will have a very good player amongst them. It's taken him a long time to get some first team football in, but when he has played a bit, he scored that memorable goal against Brighton. He's made, he's come in. He's made assists as well. But yeah, it literally was the one player who played a few passes. But back to my point, it's all about how we react. It's all about, what players do we select, say, for the next game. We'll talk about Forest perhaps closer to the weekend, perhaps.
Yeah.
But I want to see us, at least for our integrity, and for the league's integrity, to try and go out there with a strong looking side, and I want to see a response. That's what I want.
I want to see us win out. We should be winning our last 2 games of the season. If we don't, then so many questions must be asked. And we got to. We're not going to win the league, sadly, but come on, at least end it on a high. Let's win our last 2 games.
That's all.
That's all. Is that too much to ask? Forest and Wolves,
But football isn't played on paper.
Yeah.
And the last time he went to the City Ground, for example, do you remember what happened last January?
Yeah,
I do.
That was back when I was Arteta out.
There you go. So we'll see what happens. Who knows what's next? Right, what are you going to hit me with?
Nottingham Forest, by the way. The last time Man City dropped points in the league was away to Nottingham Forest.
Yeah. We said that yesterday. That seems an eternity ago now.
Yeah, that was the same week as the Villa game, I think. Good
Which
times.
Probably filled us up with that false hope again,
Yeah.
I mean, there was a couple of moments, like we mentioned, Reece's goal. The Jorginho hit the one off Martinez.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, you mentioned Emi Martinez.
Yeah, I knew you were going to do
deluded Arsenal fans on Twitter. Some deluded fans saying Ramsdale has been terrible. He's a terrible goalkeeper, and we should have kept Emi Martinez. You have very short memories, don't you? You seem to forget about all of the times, not just this season, but last season as well, where Ramsdale has kept us out of danger. He's kept us out of danger so many times. If he wasn't in goal against Liverpool this season, we would have lost about 5-2, 6-2 even.
Yeah, remember he got that save against Salah he got the award for.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
He made a few good saves.
Very young goalkeeper as well, who is only going to learn from his errors. And let's be fair, when you're in that position as goalkeeper, you're going to get eyes on you. You have to be a special breed of player to be in between them sticks, because you have to have very broad shoulders as well, because you're always in the eye of the storm, if you want. And yeah, he's had a couple of moments where things that, you know, we talked about the distribution. Sometimes it's great. Sometimes we can have a moment like 28 seconds in against Southampton.
There are times he does make my blood boil, but he makes up for it in tremendous saves. Do you remember the game against Leicester last season, that free kick?
I do. Yeah.
That was whenever I see it, I always watch it back about a million times. Like it's just how he saved that is unbelievable. He is a fantastic goalkeeper. He just needs to stop, doing fancy footwork when he's he's in goal, passing it short to defenders when their attackers are pressing.
I mean, I'm hoping that with, like you say, he's quite a young keeper. I would imagine he'll look back on his performances in what we've just said, and he'll think to himself, I could have done something different there. I think you judge people in how they, learn for things like that, and that's not just going to apply to Ramsdale. It's going to be everybody here that we're talking about today. It's like how you respond to that. I hate using the word, but how you respond to, unfortunately, taking a position where you're up there and then you're not quite up there. And that's where we are. We don't get prizes for runners up.
No, you don't.
And that was your point you made a minute ago. Which was Pheromone.
Yeah. Which second look. Finishing second this season, yes, I am aware it does show progress in the league compared to last season and the season before. In Arteta's seasons when he's finished 8th twice and 5th, finishing second does show progress. That is right. But when you get people saying this has been an extremely successful season, I'm not sure if, throwing away an 8-point lead at the top is successful. Success is when you win trophies. That is what success is in football. It's when you win silverware. And that's why there's arguments that Man United have had a better season than Arsenal, because they've won a trophy. They could win the double. They could. And
they could.
It's also where, and I'm gonna upset a lot of people when I say this, if West Ham win the Europa Conference League, they would have had a better season than Arsenal. They would have won a trophy, not just any trophy, a European trophy. We haven't. We were both teams were in European competitions. We threw that away so we could focus on the league. How did that go? West Ham, if they win the Europa Conference League, which, I know people talk about the Conference League, it's a meaningless trophy. For a team like West Ham, that's actually quite big. For a team that's fighting relegation, to win a European trophy, even if it is the lowest in the from Champions League, Europa League, in that European tier list, if you will, even if the Conference League's the lowest one, a team like West Ham to win that is a phenomenal achievement, and it's a European trophy as well. That's why if West Ham win the Europa Conference League, they've had a better season than Arsenal. They've won a trophy. We haven't. That is the God's honest truth.
So, all right. So if
I hate saying that as well, but do you think I take pleasure in saying that? No, I don't.
So if Arsenal had the league season that West Ham had,
I'm not comparing them in the league.
Now, I was respectful enough to let you finish. Now you can let me finish.
Okay, sorry.
Right. So, do you honestly think that our fan base would have tolerated mediocre relegation battle and just say, "Oh, we'll put all that aside because that doesn't matter. Because as long as we stay above, that third from bottom place, we'll be fine." And then they pick up the what's it called now?
The Europa Conference League.
The Conference League. They picked that up against the non-elite European nations and clubs.
Who would they face in the final if they got through? I mean, I'm just going to look.
Yeah, no, you find that out.
Yeah, I will. If they got through to the final, they would face either Fiorentina or Basel. Basel in Switzerland.
Yeah, I'm aware of Basel.
Teams that were in the Champions League not so long ago.
Yeah, but it's
not. They don't go far, obviously, but
yeah. I think I might have been around the place in person when Basel came to the Emirates a while ago, long time ago.
They've beaten Premier League. They've beat United once, Chelsea, Liverpool. They're a bogey team for some Premier League clubs in the Champions League.
Yeah. And I'm trying to give a good comparison because the Champions League is that premier competition. Not sure quite how it's going to look next season with the change of format and everything, and that'll be a nice confusing way to restart our adventure in the Champions League. But maybe this is what I'm trying to get at. Do you think Arsenal's victory against Parma gets overlooked back in '94 in the European Cup Winners' Cup? A sort of almost secondary kind of even tertiary trophy, if you like, when we had the old European Cup, you had the UEFA Cup, then we had the Cup Winners.
You remember it, don't you?
I remember it very vividly.
It's memorable. You remember when you won a trophy.
Yeah, but
because for a team like West Ham to win the Europa Conference League, people are going to remember that. For a team like them to win something like that,
I suppose I get what you're saying, and should the Hammers, and do you know what, I'll say this because I've got a lot of love for the Hammers as well. I really do.
Yeah.
Because I've said it before.
I've known a couple of good people in my life that were West Ham fans, and I have been to Upton Park before. So I do have somewhat of a soft spot for them. So even though my point is, I made my point about West Ham having a better season than Arsenal, I do hope they do win it because I think I do know some people that are West Ham fans, and it'll be a good moment for them. Good moment for that kind of, yeah.
It'll be a great moment for them players. It'll be a great moment for David Moyes as well.
Declan Rice's clout goes up as well.
Exactly, and so does his price tag, I would think.
Yeah, actually, that might not be a good thing. Actually,
I hope they get battered. No,
40 million and one extra pound for you, Declan.
Sorry, I was talking. I couldn't hear you.
40 million and one extra pound for you, Declan.
Oh my God, that's the second time I've heard that reference in the last 3 days or something.
Oh, you want to talk about references you hear time and time again. The amount of times people have sent me that Arsenal crumble photo yesterday and today on WhatsApp. I think I probably saw it about 9 times in the last in 5 minutes. If you're gonna make fun of Arsenal fans for your team blowing away the Premier League, at least be original with it.
Yeah,
that's all you're to ask for. Don't say, "Oh, look at this! It's funny, hey! You want to go to Sainsbury's and get Arsenal crumble? That's funny." No, it's do something original.
Do something creative.
When I mentioned when there's a picture of all the fans in the the houses and everything, and the fans are going home, and someone said, "This is the only trophy parade that Arsenal are going to get this season." Like that's funny. That's something I haven't seen,
On that,
I hate the idea of fans leaving games early.
On that, do you think it's normal for the media to put out, pictures like that and say, "Oh, Arsenal fans leaving early, eyes emoji and all that," from establishments like the BBC as well, by the way?
I think I have seen that before with other teams. But there was one tweet that I believe BBC Sport deleted.
Oh, yeah.
That, and I don't have the photo with me, but a lot of people do have the receipt. And it was them saying, "Oh, no one would." Oh, no, they didn't. These people didn't wait at all. And it was a picture of Twitter trending bottle jobs.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw
They
that.
deleted that. We've got the receipt.
Okay.
Actually, Twitter wasn't. I mean, Twitter was big in 2014, but when Liverpool blew away the league in 2014, they didn't say, "Oh, look, they're bottle jobs, aren't they?" When there have been teams that have, if Liverpool, Tottenham, Chelsea, maybe Tottenham, because Tottenham are used to being Spursy, aren't they? If it's Liverpool, Chelsea, Man United, if they were in our situation this season and they did what we did, would establishment figures like BBC Sport, ESPN, would go, "Oh, the fans are leaving early. Oh, look, bottle jobs is trending on Twitter."
Yeah.
They wouldn't do that. But when it's Arsenal, because like we said, we have a reputation for being a bit comedic. There we go. And as we talk about football conspiracy theories, you've got no people watching now.
Don't worry about it. That never bothers me. Honestly, Posh, that never bothers me because people might be doing other things. Our views yesterday, phenomenal.
Oh yeah, it's because we were losing, and people like seeing Arsenal fans lose. So,
but I've got one more point I want to say, and it's kind of connected to what we've just said. That did you see Martin Keown's interview with Jim White on TalkSport today?
Was this about Martin Tyler?
Yes.
I mean, being anti-Arsenal, a lot of people say that Martin Tyler's a bit of a Man United fan, which because when Martial scored his first goal for the club against Liverpool, and Martin Tyler went, "Martial, yes!" Like, I remember that. But I don't know. Look, a lot of people. I will. There are people like, Micah Richards was a bit generous towards us. I actually think he's being a bit too generous, really. When people like him say, "Oh, I don't like to use the word bottling," 8 points clear at the top, threw it away in.
I don't like using it.
In a month. It is at the top, 8 points clear at the top, title in your hands. Draw it, going 2-0 up against teams like Liverpool and West Ham.
I know.
Drawing 2-2 against West Ham, being 3-1 down against bottom of the league, and then losing at home to Brighton. That's a bottling. It is. I'm sorry. It is. That's my opinion. But
and it's one you're entitled to, mate. That's what's absolutely cool about it. But do you know what? Yeah. If you don't like Martin Tyler's commentary, do you know what people can do, Bosh?
Exactly.
They can tune into Gooner Gathering.
Yes, absolutely. We're definitely impartial.
Impartial.
Oh,
yes.
Excellent. But yeah, we are. We very tune into Gooner Gathering. We to not hear the old Sky Sports commentary.
Yeah, exactly. Mate, do you have anything else you want to say?
I don't want to be negative Nancy at all anymore. So I think we've had enough of that. So but what else can you say other than it was the performance was very disappointing, and I just hope that in our next 2 games we win them both so we can end the season on a high.
I think the important thing that I think we should do, and probably should have done a bit more actually, is exactly what Spencer says down here, and give Brighton the credit they deserve for the performance that they did against us. I mean, they were solid, ran that back line. They played some good football at times.
Yeah.
And I'll read what he says. Arsenal played better, but Brighton was superb and wanted it more. And let's give them credit and give their new manager the credit that he deserves, because because coming in to fill, from Potter, at Brighton he's actually had an exceptional career, and then to take over and move along. How bad's this? I can't remember the guy's name. I'm really sorry. There you go. Thank you. For him to take up and get that project going, and for Brighton and Hove Albion to be amongst these places for Europe, etc. You think about expectations for people's seasons and stuff. That's phenomenal for them. So, and for them to lose Trossard as well mid-season, and
they still have some great players. I mentioned Mitoma, who's been one of their best players of the season.
We've gone through the whole episode without saying your favourite player, so you go on.
I didn't say he was my favourite player.
I'm winding you up, sunshine.
But he no, but he was someone who was linked with Arsenal in January. I do think Caicedo is a good player, and I thought we could have, if Edu pulled his finger out, we could have potentially got him. But you never know. Yeah. That's what he probably thinks it means by pulling your finger out.
Yeah. But that is the important point I do want to say as well. Make sure we are crediting Brighton for what they did.
It was a brilliant performance from them. Brilliant.
What I want to see, and I said it a little while ago, I want to see Arsenal respond to it. So let's see how we do on Saturday. Isn't it Saturday? 5:45. 5:30. It's going to be difficult for me to get here that early, but if you start, and I'll be.
If you want me to do it, I'll be up for it.
Perfect. Because I've got my little girl to look after my long shift at Tesco's as well. So, but this man is excellent at doing what he does. So
thank you.
So we'll definitely be there for that. I also want to tell everybody who might see this that tomorrow evening, and I did mention it yesterday. Oh, me banners! I can't see my banner. Can you put up Sophie's banner for me?
If I will find it.
TV.
There we go.
Thank you very much. Gooner Gossip TV. Sophie is kind enough to have myself and Sam Wilson on her channel tomorrow, and we are. It's an early-ish kickoff. I think it's 6:15. I think. For
in the morning.
Yeah, that's right. We'll be up early.
Really?
Yeah, 6:15 p.m. for the WSL game.
Okay.
So we're doing watch along for that. So make sure I'll share it on our community tab. Sophie's lovely. If you haven't seen our Desert Island Kickabout with Sophie, it's a wonderful, wonderful video. It's one of my favourites.
She's going to be responsible for when we inevitably get Laura Woods on the show.
Absolutely, absolutely. So make sure you tune in to see us for that one. Pretty sure we'll have a bit of a preview show for Nottingham Forest coming up, potentially on Friday night, maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
But we'll see where we go from that. But as I have no controls on my banners right now because it's all gone to.
I have the power now.
You have the power. It's your creation.
I'm the higher power. So. If we are going to wrap it up, then please do not forget to follow us. I'm on Twitter at Posh Bertie. My Instagram is at Bertie Wanless. Those are my social medias that you're allowed to follow me on.
Absolutely. You can find me at Gooner Lee Meads. You can find all of us on the channel at Gooner Gathering. I've got to say, I think this was a really good discussion. I enjoyed it, Posh.
I always love discussing with you, honestly.
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure. So there's nothing we like more talking about than Arsenal and wrestling at the same time. So
absolutely.
It's what we do, boys and girls. So until we see you all again, hopefully see you for the WSL game tomorrow. We are signing out for the evening. So thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves. Like, share, subscribe, and we'll catch you later.